Hi everybody, Lorraine here from Feel Good Therapies. I hope you're well. Just giving you a little update on a few ideas of how to bring health and well-being of yours into balance. It's a beautiful day here in Edinburgh. The sun is shining and we're very lucky. That's why I've got my summer top on, which is unusual in Scotland, but hey-ho, we make the most of it. And I thought today would be quite interesting to just have a quick couple of tips and ideas, maybe a little bit meditation taster for the junk in our trunk. This was a phrase that was given to me by one of my students that I was teaching the Connected Kids course to, and I thought it was fantastic because I think we all carry quite a lot of junk in our trunk. And one of the reasons that I teach meditation is to learn what's in our trunk, what junk is there, and to notice how it makes us feel, and to maybe use some techniques or make some decisions on how we can release that, how we can accept that part of ourselves, because we can't change history, we can't change the past, but at least we can accept ourselves a little bit more. So the junk in our trunk, I would say the trunk of the body is being from just below the chest to probably about just below the belly button, below the navel. And this is quite an interesting area in our bodies in terms of energy because it affects two chakras, both the solar plexus chakra, which is just beneath your chest in the center. If I sit up, it's just in here, and then we've got our sacral, which I'll put my hands just under here. Okay. So those are the two energy centers I'm talking about. And the solar plexus one, I've maybe mentioned before, is to do with our sense of self-esteem, to do with whether or not we feel in control, or whether we're comfortable feeling powerful, or very uncomfortable feeling powerful, whether we play the victim. And that might not be an easy thing to hear, but I'll share my experiences in a moment. And then we've got the sacral energy center, which is below that, which is all to do with our family. So it could be our own family that we've had, or it could be the family that we come from. Even if we have an adopted family, there's both energy from your birth family as well as the adopted family in that particular chakra. And it's quite interesting when we talk about this area of our body because, and I know females really struggle sometimes with their weight. But my theory on why we put on weight is sometimes to do with feeling very vulnerable or feeling quite unprotected, and also feeling a bit ungrounded. Because when we eat something, we're giving our body food in order for it to absorb what it needs and let go of what it doesn't need. But if you find yourself eating a lot of foods that are high fat or sugar content, all the time, then you've got to think about the emotion behind that, which usually is about punishing ourselves and not feeling good enough. And then we have that complex relationship with food where we use it as a means of control. In young girls in particular, we have eating disorders, and it's all linked to self-esteem, but it's about maybe where they feel lack of control in other areas of their life, but that is the area of their life they can control. In other words, what they eat, what they put into their body, what they eat and then bring up out of their body. So it's a very interesting area for us to explore. And one of the things about the solar plexus in particular is that we can hold a lot of anger in here. And I always smile when I teach my meditation classes or my Connected Kids classes because people think just because I practice meditation I never get angry. So that just isn't so. And I'm a normal person like anyone else. I'm going to feel angry sometimes. But what I'm learning to do, and it's taken me a wee while, but what I'm learning to do is to feel comfortable with the power of anger. Because usually what happens is that we feel powerful and it comes through as anger. And then we start to feel guilty about being angry. So it's quite a complex area that we have to work with here. Some of the techniques I like to use for this area is EFT, which is called Emotional Freedom Technique. It's a very good technique that you can use to change the way that you think, which affects the way that you feel, and then that affects the way that you behave. So it's a very positive way to affect yourself physically as well as mentally and emotionally. I teach this as part of the Connected Kids course because it's very good for our trainee tutors to know how to feel comfortable with themselves. I also like to use meditation, of course, because I find it really helpful to let me sit with the emotion and to maybe explore where that emotion comes from and why I feel very uncomfortable feeling the emotion as well. So that requires just a sense of being aware of the breath and being aware of how the body feels, and actually noticing the feeling and then going into where you feel that in your body. And for me, it's always in the solar plexus area if I feel upset or angry. And then the flip side of that coin is the sense of being a victim. And the sense of being a victim is, I believe, usually something that we inherit from the family that we were born into. So I think both my parents reflected some of that to a certain degree, and I think my mum reflected it more than anybody else. And it wasn't until the last few years I realised that I also carry some of that energy in me. And it's only through meditation practice I realised how I think about myself in certain situations that brings on a particular feeling and then a behaviour. So, for example, I was teaching a class a few months ago. Everyone was going out for lunch, and I said, "Oh, I'll catch up with you." I left a little bit later than them, and as I walked along the street, I could see that the girls were all in front of me. And this feeling of being vulnerable and this thought process started to kick in of, they're not waiting for you, you're not good enough, they don't want to be with you. And fortunately, I practiced mindful meditation, so I was able to recognise that and go, hold on, where does this come from? I don't know that for sure. And I was able to look at it and be more comfortable with it, even in that moment, and then override it and go up and join the girls and have a lovely lunch with them. And when I reflected on it later in meditation, I realised it comes from the feeling of inadequacies and feeling a lack of self-esteem that I've definitely inherited from my female side, my mother's side in the family. And it's not about pushing that away, but it's about recognising it, number one, and then it's about actually accepting it and sitting with it in meditation and really feeling it. Because the more that you start to notice it, the more that you will start to feel a bit differently about it, because it won't feel like it's owning you. It's more like you're observing it, and then you can make a choice then. You can make an informed choice. So I think we'll do a very short kind of meditation taster on that, and just to notice what's in that solar plexus area of your body, see what makes you angry or makes you feel vulnerable. So if you'd like to get into a meditation position, just close your eyes. And just have your feet resting on the ground. That's really important that you do that, or you may be already sitting on the ground with your legs crossed. Either way, as long as you have a good contact with the ground underneath you, with the floor. And then just come into your breath and be aware of your breath as you breathe in and aware of your breath as you breathe out. And just noticing the full journey of your in and out breath. And don't worry about how many thoughts are popping into your mind, things you have to do, feeling overwhelmed, whatever it is that's coming in. That is so normal. So each time you notice one, congratulate yourself for noticing the thought, then come back to your breath and just notice a breath. And just keep doing that again and again and again. Because every time you notice that you are actually being distracted, that's a very powerful step in meditation. When we notice how distracted we are, we can do something about it. We're powerless, actually, if we don't know that that's going on. So congratulate yourself every time you have that distracting thought. Well done. And then I want you to imagine that in your solar plexus, which is just beneath your chest in the centre of your body, there is a small point of light there, as if someone were shining a torch on it. And when you imagine that small point of light that you may see or you may feel, I want you to just breathe directly into that point of light. So use your imagination, or place your hand there and imagine that with each breath that the light is expanding. And you can even imagine, if your hand is there, this nice warm feeling starting to build up in this area. That's representing the warmth of the light if you're unable to see the light, or maybe you do both, you see and feel it. And I want you to just enjoy the sensation of that light expanding in that part of your body. If you feel a little bit nauseous, don't worry about that. That usually indicates that there's a little energy blockage there, and there's a bit of resistance to this change and being aware of the solar plexus. So just breathe into that feeling of being nauseous. It will pass. Not everybody feels that, but some do. And I want you to take a moment just to notice how you feel about being angry. Are you comfortable with being angry, or are you uncomfortable? And maybe you can imagine having an argument with someone, maybe someone that you love. It's always easy to argue with someone that you don't love. But just notice what sensation comes up in that part of your body. Words might come into your mind, or certain images might come in. And if you find it really difficult to imagine anything, give it a colour and give it a shape. That's usually a good start. Imagine what your anger looks like, feels like. And just imagine that light expanding in your solar plexus. And it's as if the light is really illuminating what you hold in your solar plexus. The feelings, the thoughts, any images that come up. And then I want you to just ask a simple question of yourself. Where does this come from? Where is the origin of this? And I want you to just breathe that in as a sentence, in and out, silently to yourself, again and again. Maybe you'll get a flash of someone's face. Maybe you'll get a flash of a memory. Maybe there'll be a sensation in your body. And if there's anything you don't understand, then just ask for more clarity. Silently ask for more clarity. Okay, let that dissolve just now. Maybe you can practice that again in your own time. But we're going to do it with a slightly different sensation, not anger this time. But when you focus on that light in your solar plexus, I want you to notice how you feel about being powerful. And notice how that makes you feel. You could even breathe in the words, I am powerful. And breathe them into your solar plexus and notice what happens when you do that. Maybe there's a thought that's generated, or maybe there's a feeling or a memory, a person. Because again, its origins are much deeper than you realise. So if you're not sure of where this comes from, this feeling that's generated about being powerful, then just ask the question, where does this come from? This feeling, this thought, who does it belong to? And it may belong to you, but maybe it generates a memory of something. Just keep doing that with each breath. Just breathing in those words, I am powerful, and noticing how that makes you feel. You might notice other twinges in your body elsewhere. Just pay attention to that. And then I want you to let that all just drift away from your awareness. And I want you to change the words to breathing in, I feel vulnerable. And notice what that brings up for you. Again, you might notice it starting in your solar plexus, but going somewhere else, feeling it somewhere else, or a thought or a feeling or a memory comes up. And ask for yourself silently the question, where does this originate from? Just keep breathing in and out, just being aware of any sensations, thoughts or feelings. And then just let that all dissolve. Now if anything difficult came up for you, you could imagine just breathing that feeling or sensation into that big ball of light that's in your solar plexus. That would be my suggestion, just to breathe it in, to actually accept it and not try to change it and not try to force it to go away, but to actually breathe it into that area and imagine it melting in that sun that's in your solar plexus. In our classes we teach some other techniques that you can use to really help shift the kind of blocked energy that you might have, or any resistance that you might have. You know, energy is just energy. It can change and shift, just like our thoughts can change and shift. And meditation is a wonderful tool for doing that. So I hope that's been helpful for you. I've enjoyed doing it too, actually. I did join in today. So if you want to try any more of our techniques, then by all means have a look at the other video blogs that we have on our website. I also do a monthly meditation online, which is live, so it's really nice to join in, and there should be one coming up soon if you look on our website, feelgood-therapies.com. And I also have an online course you could do, or there's meditation CDs or MP3s, or join us on a class, because our next one isn't till August, but you can join us. So I hope that's been helpful. I've really enjoyed doing that. And if you have any questions, just please drop me an email. I'll see what I can do to help. Hopefully I can. Have a wonderful sunny day. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.